Hello and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Feel free to like or dislike the video as you see fit, so feel free to hit those buttons. Feel free to comment below, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and hit your notification bell for more content as it is released. You're also free to share my videos as much as you'd like, because the purpose of this channel is educational in regards to atheist and deconversion issues. Today I want to continue on my series of, helping the apologists with their arguments for God's existence. Basically, I'm going to tell you why the argument in question didn't work for me, and what maybe the atheist can, or the apologist can do to fix it. And today I'm taking on the Transcendental argument for God because it's the only other one that somebody listed. So sometime today or the next day, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a poll on there. And I'll have, I think there's 4 or 5 philosophical arguments that are still left, and I'll put those on there. You can vote. Hopefully there'll be a poll or something that you can vote which one, and they'll have an other status. So if you have something else that you want me to consider as far as an argument for God, I'll do that. But today I want to talk about the Transcendental argument for God. Now, if you were to go to Charm and read the whole argument by Matt Slick, it'll take you a bit. But the actual argument that he lays out is a very short paragraph at the end. It basically goes something like this. Either there is a God or there isn't one. Okay, either God does exist or he doesn't exist. He exists or he doesn't exist. There is no third option. That's the assertion. If atheism cannot account for various logical absolutes, then it is negated and the other option is automatically raised to fullness. So in other words, if atheism can't account for certain logical things, for certain, various logical things, then consistencies and so on and so forth, then it's negated, so therefore theism wins, okay? Therefore God exists. Then the assertion is atheism cannot account for these kind of logical, intellectual kind of things. So that leaves only the other option for the existence of God, which is that he exists. Now, a lot of these logical things are like, can you account for morality? A lot of the other arguments for God get pulled into this one, as it's almost a grab bag. But let's take it down. Basically, this is, A or B, not B, therefore A kind of thing. Okay, the problem I have, let's take the first premise as God exists or does not exist. There is no third option. Actually, we've come up with a lot more than those 3 options. Also, which God are we talking about? Because the Christian God, the Islamic God, the Buddhist God, actually that might be on an atheist. So maybe the problem is there's more options here than just 2. So we already start out the gate with what I would consider a falsity, that this is the only option that there is. It's kind of like, people don't like it when I bring in the afterlife, but a lot of other people that have debunked this argument do the same thing. They say, well, either heaven exists or Valhalla exists. Valhalla can't be proven to exist, so therefore heaven must exist. Well, there's a shit ton of other, postulated afterlives. Excuse me. And so what do you got left? Well, the problem with this is the same thing. I mean, Buddhism might be considered an atheist position by some Buddhists. They don't really postulate a personal God, but that's not a saying of, I don't believe there is no God. So the first postulate, A or B, is not true. I'd say that A has a multitude. There's like A 1 through a million, and B also has A through. You'd have to literally go through every possible option. I think this is kind of a black and white fallacy kind of thing. I think Rationality Rules made that same statement, black and white fallacy, where it's like you're making a big, huge assumption that these are the only 2 options, because apparently other people have thought of other options besides these 2. The second one is that atheists can't account for some of these things, which I disagree with. I think atheists can account for logical absolutes and things like that, and has already done so. I think those arguments are somewhere on the internet. I think I remember reading one of them a long time ago. I just now, as an atheist, say, no, I think I can account for some of these things. I can account for morality. I can account for other things. That's the moral argument. But I can account for other things in life that are logically absolute. And besides, when we create logic, we're looking at a tool to engage with reality. So I'm not so sure that God answers those questions either. And once again, we still have the problem of other viewpoints that are both not God positions or God positions. We have a multitude of them. So one of them might answer those besides that. So it falls apart there. You can't verify the truth of if your atheism doesn't account for things, then it must be God. There's no way to account for that. Okay, there's just nothing there. You can't prove that. Okay, and I think atheism, a non-God position, can still account for logical absolutes and things like that, and various logical things. So that kind of leaves the conclusion crap, doesn't it? Okay, therefore God exists. No. See, now, some of you are going to run over to Charm and look up Matt Slick's argument for the existence of God. You're going to look up the Transcendental, and you're going to find a big, long thing to read. You go ahead and read that. I read that a long time ago when I was a theist, and when I got to the end, I'm like, dude, you just spent umpteen pages just talking about stuff we all agree on. And it's almost like you're engaged in a lot of bloody fluff, okay, before you just lay out your argument. It was poorly communicated in the first place, and it looks complex. But when you really get down to it, this argument is probably one of the simplest philosophical arguments for God, and it also fails. Okay, so how do you fix it? How do I tell you apologists how to fix this? Well, number one, you're going to have to do the impossible task of getting off this false dichotomy of God exists or doesn't exist, because you have to ask yourself which God. Okay, it's like Pascal's wager all over again. You're assuming one God, and I'm like, no, you've got a whole wagon wheel full of them. Also, atheism isn't the only non-God position. We also have to ask ourselves, polytheism fits in the middle there, doesn't it? Maybe more gods is the answer, or no gods. Okay, so maybe that's another thing. And you got to fix that problem. So you got to engage in the impossible task of going through the A1 through a million and the B1 through a million and eliminating all those so that you only have one left. Good luck with that. The other thing is you haven't really proven that atheism can't account for logical absolutes and things like that. You haven't done that. And I would say that probably atheists can. I think they can. And probably have, because logical absolutes often don't have anything to do with God. So don't need them. You don't need God to account for that. So this one doesn't work. You're going to have to show how atheism doesn't account for logical absolutes by listening to the atheists when they say they can, and then you're going to have to debunk that, which I don't think you've done. At least I couldn't find it. Maybe somebody can give me a link. But the fact is, this transcendental argument for God is probably, of all the philosophical arguments for God, is the absolute worst one. I think when you really boil it down and get past all the fluff and you get it down to its logical syllogism, it fails. Because it's not just A or B, and you haven't proven that not B is true. And so the first premise is false, and the second premise is unproven, so your conclusion is both false and unproven. So have a nice day with that. Now you notice I'm not very far into this video. It only took me about 9 minutes to talk about this. Well, maybe 6 or 7 minus the intro. I didn't believe in this even when I was a Christian. I said this is an absolute crap argument for the existence of God, because it assumes way too much that it hasn't proven. And I can take a basic logic class and realize that the first premise is not true because there's more options there, and the second premise isn't proven, so you got to put false/true in that spot. Could be true, could be false. In which case, if that statement is false, then atheism is proven true. I mean, you can literally put any god into this. Either the Zeus position is true or it isn't true. The not Zeus position can't account for logical, so therefore Zeus is true. I mean, it's a really poor, bad argument. It's just bad. And I don't think you can fix it, but I gave you my fixes, prove that those are the only two options, or prove that all the other options are false and only the one is left. And then show me how atheism, doesn't account for those things. Why do you say that? How do you say that? I think that's an arguable point. So you got to find a way to make that a true statement. So it kind of all fails, and that's kind of where it ends. I think that's going to be it for this one, because that's really all there is. I think, without a doubt, this has got to be one of the poorest philosophical arguments for the existence of God, and quite frankly, I don't think it's fixable. So, yeah, we're going to kind of leave it there. I want to thank you all for every like, share, subscribe. You guys keep doing what you do. Make sure you like the video or dislike it, subscribe, put a comment, down in there. Help me with the YouTube algorithm. We are very, very close to getting those 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm up to 957 as of the recording of this video, so 43 away, 43 away. And, that's a big step for me. People ask me what I'm doing in the future. And, if I start making money at this, I will definitely devote more time to it to improve things. But right now I'm living my life, enjoying my simple life of philosophy, and just being me. And so this is a part of my life. It's not an all-consuming thing. So there's that. Stay tuned. Later this week I'll do more of my deconversion story, and also join me for Sundays with the Rabyd Atheist, where we talk about various topics and I pontificate and try to give you something better than going to church. Thanks once again for stopping by. I appreciate every single one of you. I enjoy your comments. They're definitely very thought-provoking and engaging, and that's exactly what I want. So thank you very much. And so I appreciate all of you. Go out there, live your best life, do the best you can. You only get one go around, so make it a good one. And I'll see you next time.